She was a personal slave until the human freed her and made her his wife. The slave markets of Vigo Prime reeked of desperation and broken dreams. Humanoid beings of dozens of species stood chained in rows, their eyes hollow with defeat. Among them, a young Altarian female named Kira tried to make herself invisible, her pale blue skin marked with the scars of countless beatings. Her delicate features, once considered beautiful by her people's standards, now served only to attract the wrong kind of attention from potential buyers. Captain Marcus Webb of the Terran Federation surveyed the market with barely concealed disgust. His mission was simple: infiltrate the slave trade networks operating in the Outer Rim territories and gather intelligence on their operations. What he hadn't expected was to feel his stomach turn at the sight of sentient beings reduced to property. Earth had abolished slavery centuries ago, but apparently the practice thrived in the lawless sectors of the galaxy. A rotund Balorian merchant approached him, jeweled tentacles writhing with excitement. "Ah, a human, how rare to see your kind in these parts. Looking for something specific. I have excellent workers, some fighters, and," he leered, "some very attractive personal companions." Marcus forced himself to play the role. What kind of personal companions? The merchant's eyes gleamed. "Follow me." He led Marcus to a separate section where the lighting was dimmer and the chains heavier. "These are our premium selections, trained in all manner of services." Marcus's jaw clenched as he saw the fear in the captive's eyes. His gaze fell on Kira, who was trying to shrink into the shadows. Unlike the others, she met his eyes briefly before looking away, and in that moment he saw not just fear, but a flicker of defiance that hadn't been completely extinguished. "That one," Marcus said, pointing to Kira. "How much?" The merchant's tentacles quivered with greed. "Ah, excellent choice. She's Altarian, very rare, very compliant, only 50,000 credits." Marcus transferred the funds without hesitation, his heart pounding. He watched as the merchant unlocked Kira's chains and roughly pushed her toward him. She stumbled, catching herself before falling, and Marcus had to resist the urge to help her. "She's yours now," the merchant said, handing Marcus a control device. "This will ensure her obedience. The settings range from mild discomfort to, well, let's just say you'll never have discipline problems." Marcus pocketed the device, his skin crawling. "I'll take her to my ship now." The walk through the market felt like an eternity. Kira walked behind him, her head down, expecting at any moment to feel pain from the control device. But it never came. Marcus led her to his ship, a sleek Federation vessel disguised as a merchant freighter, and only when they were inside with the airlock sealed did he finally speak. "You're safe now," he said, turning to face her. Kira looked up in confusion, her large violet eyes wide with disbelief. "Master, I'm not your master," Marcus said firmly. "My name is Marcus. I'm with the Terran Federation, and I'm here to shut down operations like that one." He pulled out the control device and, without hesitation, crushed it under his boot. The young Altarian stared at the destroyed device, then at Marcus, her body trembling. I don't understand. You bought me. I bought you to free you," Marcus explained. "Can you tell me about the slave network, how they operate, where they get their captives?" For the first time in months, Kira felt something other than fear. Hope, fragile and uncertain, began to bloom in her chest. They raided my homeworld, killed my family. I was captured and sold to a private collector who used me for entertainment." Her voice broke. "When I resisted, he sold me to the market." Marcus felt rage building inside him. "How many others are there like you?" "Thousands," Kira whispered. "The network spans dozens of worlds. They have processing centers, training facilities. It's massive." Over the following days, as Marcus prepared his report for Federation Command, Kira began to open up. She shared intelligence about the slave trade's operations, their routes, their key players. but more than that, she began to heal. Marcus treated her with kindness and respect, something she had almost forgotten existed. "Why?" she asked one evening as they sat in the ship's small mess hall. "Why save me? Your people gain nothing from this." Marcus set down his coffee and looked at her seriously. "Because it's right. Because every sentient being deserves freedom, dignity, and the chance to choose their own path. That's what we humans believe." Kira studied his face, seeing no deception there. "Your species is strange. Most beings in the galaxy see opportunity in others' suffering. Then maybe it's time the galaxy learned a different way." Marcus replied. The Federation's response was swift and decisive. Within weeks, a joint task force was assembled, with Marcus leading the intelligence operations. Kira, now recovered and determined to help others like herself, volunteered to serve as a liaison and intelligence asset. Her knowledge of the slave trade's inner workings proved invaluable. The first raid targeted a processing facility on Rigel Roman 7. Marcus led a team of Federation Marines, while Kira provided tactical support, her insider knowledge helping them navigate the complex's security systems. The operation was a complete success. Over 300 slaves were freed, and several high-ranking members of the network were captured. "You did well today," Marcus told Kira as they watched the freed prisoners being loaded onto transport ships. "Your people would be proud." Kira watched a group of young Altarians being reunited with their families, tears streaming down her face. "I hope so. I hope they're watching from whatever comes after." Over the following months, Marcus and Kira worked together to dismantle the slave network piece by piece. They developed a deep trust and partnership, and gradually, something more began to grow between them. Marcus found himself drawn to Kira's strength and resilience, while she was amazed by his unwavering commitment to justice and his gentle nature. Their relationship remained professional, but the tension was unmistakable. During a quiet moment on a transport ship between operations, Kira finally addressed it. "Marcus," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "I know I have no right to ask this, but when this is all over, what happens to me?" Marcus looked at her, his expression soft. "Whatever you want to happen. You're free, Kira. You can go anywhere, do anything. The Federation will help you rebuild your life. What if I don't want to leave?" she asked, her cheeks flushing blue. Before Marcus could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. They were under attack by a slaver fleet that had tracked them down. The battle was fierce, with Marcus coordinating the defense, while Kira worked to protect the freed slaves in the cargo holds. During the fighting, an explosion rocked the ship, and Marcus was knocked unconscious by falling debris. When he awoke in the medical bay, the first thing he saw was Kira's worried face hovering over him. "Thank the ancestors," she breathed. "I thought I'd lost you, Kira," Marcus said, reaching up to touch her face. "I need to tell you something. These past months, working with you, getting to know you, I've fallen in love with you." Tears filled her eyes. "I love you too, Marcus, but I'm scared. What if this is just gratitude? What if I'm confusing freedom with love? Then we'll figure it out together," Marcus said. "No pressure, no expectations, just together." The final assault on the slave network's headquarters was a massive operation involving ships from multiple Federation worlds. The facility was hidden in an asteroid field, heavily fortified and defended by a small fleet of warships. Marcus and Kira worked together to coordinate the attack, their partnership now seamless after months of collaboration. The battle was intense, but the Federation forces eventually broke through. Marcus led the assault team into the facility, while Kira coordinated the evacuation of prisoners. In the command center, they found the network's leader, a cruel Nexarian named Voss, who had personally overseen the capture and torture of thousands of beings. "You think you've won," Voss snarled as Marcus placed him in restraints. There are dozens of networks like mine. You'll never stop all of us. Maybe not, Marcus replied. But we'll stop you, and we'll keep fighting until slavery is nothing but a dark memory. As the last of the prisoners were evacuated and the facility was destroyed, Marcus and Kira stood together on the observation deck of the Federation command ship. The slave network was broken, its leaders captured or dead, and hundreds of beings had been freed. It's over, Kira said, leaning against Marcus's shoulder. This part is, Marcus agreed, but there's still more work to do. The galaxy is full of injustice, and someone has to stand against it. Kira looked up at him. Someone has to stand against it. Marcus smiled and pulled her closer. 6 months later, in a small ceremony aboard the Federation ship Liberator, Captain Marcus Webb married Kira of Altair. The wedding was attended by dozens of beings they had helped free, representing species from across the galaxy. As they exchanged vows, Marcus spoke of love, freedom, and the belief that every being deserved dignity and respect. Kira's vows were simpler but no less powerful. You showed me that slavery isn't just about chains and control devices. It's about believing you have no worth, no choice, no future. You gave me back my freedom, but more than that, you gave me back myself. I choose to spend my life with you, not because I have to, but because I want to. The ceremony concluded with a traditional human exchange of rings and an Altarian blessing of the stars. As they kissed, the assembled crowd cheered, and Marcus realized that this was what humanity brought to the galaxy, not just superior technology or military might, but the belief that every being mattered, that love could triumph over hate, and that freedom was worth fighting for. After the ceremony, as they stood together looking out at the stars, Kira asked, "What now?" Marcus smiled and took her hand. "Now we start our real life together. The Federation is forming a new division focused on fighting slavery and trafficking. They want us to lead it." "Us?" Kira asked. "Co-directors," Marcus confirmed. "Partners in every sense of the word." Kira squeezed his hand. "I can't think of anything I'd rather do. But this time, we're not just fighting for justice. We're fighting for our future, for our children's future." As their ship jumped to hyperspace, beginning their new mission, Marcus reflected on the journey that had brought them together. He had set out to gather intelligence on a slave network, and had found something far more valuable proof that love and compassion could overcome even the darkest evil, and that sometimes the greatest victories came not from conquest, but from the simple act of treating another being with dignity and respect. The galaxy was vast and full of darkness, but as long as there were beings willing to stand up for what was right, there would always be hope. And sometimes that hope came in the form of a human who refused to accept that anyone should be property, and an Altarian who learned that freedom was just the beginning of life's greatest adventure.